Hi, and welcome back to another episode of me reacting to TLC's Extreme Cheapskates, apart from, actually, this is not. I know you guys really like that. You also like my true story animation videos too. Isn't it kind of crazy that I found an Extreme Cheapskates version of a true story animated video, or the other way around? I don't really know. Anyway, we're gonna be watching this animation called My Mom Loves Money More Than Me. This would probably be me if I had a child, so reason 107 why Kiera shouldn't reproduce. Anyway, let's watch it.
My mom takes saving to the next level. Literally everything. Our house had different stations where we recycled plastic, fabric, paper, and so on. But worst of all was the compost bin in the kitchen for recycling food and leftovers. And I can't even describe the horrible smell that—
You know what? This is just like what I don't get. A lot of people go out of their way to like save stuff and save money and etc, etc. But they're severely decreasing their quality of life, right? Don't you want to save money so that you can then use it to then like have a better life? But I feel like some people get so addicted to doing it, they just ruin their own lives. Anyway, what's up with her arms?
My mom, of course, refused to put it outside. The squirrels would ruin the compost we've been saving up, is what she claimed. Because of that, every time my friends would come over, they'd complain about the terrible smell. Until the day I was known in school as the girl whose house smells like a pig stable.
Wow, that's a really good, convenient nickname they've given you there. You know, some people just get called like frick face or like poo poo girl. But no, she is, look, it's a girl whose house smells like a pig stable, everyone laugh at her. Like, that's such a mouthful. That's like way more inconvenient for the bullies than it is for you.
7 years old, Mom stopped driving her car and designed her own special rickshaw with 2 seats in the back for my brother Mark and I. She drove us to school in this rickshaw for years. Back then, we thought we were cool. People waved at us and smiled. It was actually like we were the head of a special parade. I thought my mom was very creative. We always have to be prepared for the worst. Your grandpa has taught me well.
Stuff like that. It's like fun when they're like 2 years old, you know, but then they grow up and it's just a fast track to make sure your kids have no friends ever and always are just bullied.
When we were very young, Mom bought toys from secondhand stores and then stitched them up for us. We were too young to care where the toys came from. The funny thing is that we didn't know how cheap my mom was until Tracy, one of my friends, came to visit when we were younger. She came over to my house for a sleepover when we were 10. Why does your mom take ketchup, sugar, and serviettes from restaurants?
Everyone does that. I don't care if you're a billionaire or not. Everyone takes the free stuff from the restaurants, right? Like half the time you don't even want to use it. It's just like, if it's in front of me, if you're offering.
I didn't have an answer. The next day, we went to the movies together. Why does your mom sneak her own popcorn and drinks into the movies? Tracy asked me as the movie started. Your mom is cheap, she said. I was angry with Tracy. I thought she was being mean. I didn't want to believe her, but as I cooled down, what she said opened up my eyes to what was actually happening. From then on, things started to make sense. I realized that people were actually laughing at us in my mom's rickshaw. That was when I told my mom that she didn't need to take us to school anymore. I'll walk Mark to school, Mom. It's good exercise for us.
Or just like get a car and be normal. I don't know. Sometimes your parents just need to like hear the truth, right?
My mom quickly agreed. It gives me more time to turn our recycling into usable things in the house. Besides, we're gonna save lots of money on gas. I got shivers when she said that. Now I had a very different feeling about Mom's creativity.
Look, I know recycling is good for the environment and stuff, and like, let's do it. But it like creeps me out, like 100% recycled plastic. Does that mean someone's like probably used this as like something disgusting before maybe? Like, I don't know, I don't even want to think about it, you know? Doesn't it creep anyone else out? Like, I get it, it's clean and stuff, but like, this could have been like inside someone before. And now I'm drinking from it.
A week later, Mom took out all the showers. She replaced them with a bucket outside in the garden. You know how much water we're going to save now? She said, smiling. Luckily, when my dad saw that the neighbors were spying on him showering, he put an end to this.
Look, man, you kind of look like an off-brand Jesus. I'm not entirely sure anyone wants to spy on you showering. Each their own, I guess. Everyone has preferences.
My dad had a lot of patience for my mom. He loved her despite her crazy cheapness. My dad had a great job, and we had money to spend, but my mom didn't want to hear any of that. We have enough money until the government freezes our accounts, said my mom. That's when you'll thank me for all that I do for you and your brother. The older we got, the less we saw our dad. His business trips went from being a few days long to a few weeks at a time. Soon it was months before we would see him. I should have known that something was up, but I'll admit that I was too wrapped up in my own problems. When I first got my period, I faced a problem I never expected. I knew at the time that I should start using pads and
I really don't want to know where this is gonna go. I don't know what kind of makeshift, tampon her mother's gonna make her put inside. Why do I always cry when I film? I think the lights are a little too harsh, but this just does not look professional. I don't look professional.
But instead, I was shocked to see my mom holding a period cup and saying, "Here you go, sweetie. You will be using this every time you get your period from now on." Not only that, but she also gave me a weird piece of fabric and said, "Spoiled teen girls start wearing a bra as they grow up, but a special girl like you will wear this." She handed me the piece of fabric. I didn't understand what it was supposed to be for. You see, you only need to wrap it around your chest and there you go. A comfy bra for free. I knew at that point that my mom had gone way too far.
Yes, maybe a little bit. The whole blood cup thing, absolutely not. Get that away from me. I don't even want to comment on the rest of it. This is disturbing. She looks mad. She looks really upset.
My brother Mark hated my mom's cheapness even more than I did. Because he was younger than me, Mark got all my hand-me-downs. From jeans to t-shirts and even jerseys, Mark grew up wearing my clothes. He was creative in how he reshaped them to look like something that a boy would wear, but by the time he was 13, his classmates wouldn't let him get away with this. They left lipstick and makeup on his desk, they stuck fashion articles to his locker. They even started calling him Marcy. "Leave my brother alone," I said to them. But they just laughed. "What are you gonna do? Will your mother chase us in her rickshaw?" I had no reply to this.
This is all a mother's thought. I don't get when parents do stuff like this. It's never for the greater good. Kids will be kids. Don't subject them to being bullied if it's absolutely... It's not even necessary. They're not poor. She's just choosing to put them through this pain and torment.
I was furious, and so was Mark. He went home and told Mom that he needed clothes for boys. My mother almost lost it. "We don't have money for new clothes," she screamed. "If you want new clothes, I'll make them for you." Mom knitted Mark the most awful, trendy clothes we'd ever seen. Mark took one look at the new clothes Mom had made and said, "It's fine, I'll wear the hand-me-downs." Mark and I were tired of Mom's cheapness. That afternoon in my room, we had a secret meeting about what we could do to stop Mom from embarrassing us in the future.
Why is their laptop so big? It's the size of a room. I don't know if this was some artistic choice. Maybe I'll just stop talking.
We needed help, so we called our dad. Dad didn't like to fight with Mom. He was a calm man who didn't like complications and fights. So whenever Mom went into one of her raging cheap spins, we made an arrangement with Dad. He sent us the money we needed, and in return, all he wanted us to do was keep these transactions from our mom. We agreed. Now we were able to buy all the clothes and items that we needed. The next part of our plan was pretty simple. My best friend Tracy lived down the road from us. We kept our secret stash of clothes at Tracy's house. Every morning we left home in Mom's clothes. Then we stopped at Tracy's house, changed, and then went to school in our new clothes.
I mean, if they're just getting those clothes from a stash at Tracy's house, why would the mother be mad about it? It's not like she has to pay for it.
We did this for years, and there was peace in the house, but nothing lasts forever, especially when you've got a mom that has a PhD in cheapology. Summer vacation arrived, and I was excited. I'd just started dating a boy that I really liked. His name was Devin. He didn't judge me like the other kids did. I was looking forward to spending time with him and getting away.
Yeah, and Devin won't judge you for wearing hand-me-downs either because his sense of style looks great.
That idea didn't last long. A week into the vacation, Mom arrived home with shovels, pickaxes, and other digging equipment. "Mom, what's going on?" I asked. Mom smiled. "We're going to build a bunker. I've borrowed all this equipment from our neighbors so that we can get it done quickly." "We're going to build a bunker? As in, not just you?" "Correct."
What does this woman think is gonna happen? 2020's been a rough year, but I don't think it's bunker time yet. I might be wrong, maybe it is, but I don't think it's time to start whipping out the underground bunkers. I'm sure we've probably got some left from the last war anyway.
He's always said that every house must have a bunker. I was surprised to hear about this visit. Grandpa hadn't left his home in 20 years. My grandfather was in the Second World War. It left him paranoid about the future. He turned his home into a doomsday bunker and taught his family to save everything they could. Nothing useful was ever thrown away, and it had to be used at least 3 or 4 times before it was thrown out. Grandpa was the reason Mom was the way she was. Mark and I didn't have a choice in the matter. We were going to build a bunker. I had to cancel plans with Devin. I made as many excuses as I could, but he wouldn't believe any of them. "I'm coming over to see you," he said. Before I could stop him, he hung up. A few minutes later, he arrived at my house. Up until then, I'd managed to keep him outside.
Devin's like, what? How could you do this to me? You're building an underground bunker? Ugh, we're breaking up. This is so weird.
I knew that no excuses were going to make any sense now, so I told him the truth. To my surprise, he didn't run away or even laugh. Cool, I've never seen a bunker before. Can I check it out? I let Devin in. I introduced him to my mom. He held out his hand to greet her. She put a shovel in his hand. If you're going to be here, then you're going to work, she said. At that moment, I could have died, but Devin just smiled and said, thank you. We spent the rest of the day digging. How romantic.
I don't know what, Devin's just not rubbing me the right way. I mean, look at him. Why is she looking at him like that? And doing the clenched thing from TikTok.
Dad was away on yet another business trip and was basically unreachable. We worked like this for a week, with Devin coming over every day. We dug until our hands ached. When our neighbors started seeing what Mom was doing, they became suspicious.
And I don't think that that was a completely irrational thing to do. It kind of looks like some child slave labor's going on.
She told them about the bunker. They nodded while she spoke, but we could tell that they wanted to laugh at her. The police left soon enough, asking Mom to make sure that the structure was safe. Mom told them that it would be, but knowing Mom, she'd never hire an architect to design this bunker. It's a waste of money, she said. Anyway, my father taught me how to make a bunker when I was 9 years old. 9? I couldn't believe it. I felt sorry for Mom. She'd had a pretty tough life. Mark and I got back to work. It was becoming easier now, and it would have been fine if the news reporters hadn't arrived. Someone must have contacted the newspapers telling them about what was going on in our backyard. A day later, we had reporters outside the house. Cameras popped over our wall.
I don't know what kind of town you're living in where they get that excited and the news people come because you're building a hole in the ground, pretty much a glorified hole.
So when someone starts building a bunker, it gets onto the front page of the newspaper. Mark and I were totally embarrassed the following week when we saw Mom smiling on the front page of the paper. The headline read, "Doomsday Lady Builds a Bunker." I was so grateful that we were on vacation. I was so grateful for Devin. He stayed through the whole ordeal and held me when it became too much. I knew then that he loved me. I also knew that I couldn't live this way much longer. A few weeks later, the bunker was finished. Mom called Grandpa to tell him that she was ready for his visit. He canceled on her, saying that it wasn't safe to leave the house. Mom was upset, but I was furious. I couldn't do this anymore. The day I turned 18, I left home. Mom wasn't happy and neither was Mark, but I wouldn't let them stop me. Devin and I found jobs and made enough to rent a small apartment.
Well, that's good. I don't blame her. I would get out there pretty fast too. That is just not vibes.
A few years after that, we had 2 beautiful children. Being a mother was tough, but I promised myself I'd be nothing like my mom. I kept in touch with Mom, but only...
I thought this was in Spanish. But it's a lorem ipsum thing that comes up when you're about to type into a Word document. Why is this so funny to me? Also, you choking on chocolate.
I kept my distance from her. Mark came to visit often. Dad, well, he was so busy with work that we barely heard from him. When my kids were about 5, Mom called me with news. "Your grandpa is coming to visit," she said excitedly. "And I'd like you to come and see him." I didn't want to go, but Devin talked me into it. "Family is important," he said. So we went. The next day, we went to my mom's house. "He'll probably come on the bus," said Mom. Back in the old days, he would have walked, but his hip is acting up now. Mark and I looked at each other. What kind of family had we grown up in? "Go to the bus to pick up your grandfather," said Mom. Mark and I walked down the road to the bus stop. The first bus arrived, but Grandpa wasn't on it. He wasn't on the second or the third bus. An hour later, we walked back home. As we arrived back at the house, a brand new car pulled up to the house. Mark and I couldn't believe it. It was Grandpa. He looked nothing like we remembered him. The Grandpa we remembered wore old clothes.
But let me guess, all of those years of saving, now he's a billionaire and can buy Lamborghini.
This Grandpa stepped out of the car looking different.
He was dressed in sick clothes. That's some sick swag you've got there, Grandpa. Is that a babe walking stick?
Kiddos, so good to see you both. Come give Grandpa a hug. We hugged him and smelled his cologne. It was definitely something expensive. Then we helped him with his bags. If we were shocked by what we saw, Mom's reaction was even worse. She just about fell over when she saw Grandpa. He was different, calmer, friendlier, laid back, and full of jokes. Mom showed him around the house. She went through each room and explained how she had used everything that he had taught her when she was a girl. Grandpa smiled politely, but we could see that he was surprised and a little shocked by Mom's efforts. Finally, Mom showed Grandpa the bunker. We could tell how proud she was of her design. And we put it together in just over a month, she said, filled with everything we'll need for 10 years. Grandpa's face went white. That's great news. Why don't we get some fresh air? And I could use a glass of water. Mom said she'd get it for him. While Mom was away, Grandpa pulled us aside. What's happened to her? He asked. What do you mean? I said. She's always been like this? Always? Asked Grandpa. He paused a moment and then dropped his head. It's my fault. I raised her believing that the end of the world was always just around the corner, although I was rich. But after my wife was gone, I realized I was a lonely man and that I missed out on a lot in my life. I decided to change. I'm sorry, kiddos, but don't worry. I'm going to talk some sense into her. Mark and I could have cried at that point. We were so relieved. We hugged Grandpa and thanked him. That evening after a tinned food dinner, Grandpa sat Mom down and had a heart-to-heart with her. I sent Devin home with the kids. Mark and I listened from another room. You've done a great job of preparing for the end of the world, Trisha.
I don't know about that one, but okay.
But it's not going to happen anytime soon. Mom looked shocked. What do you mean? Grandpa stopped her. I know. When you were growing up, I thought that the world was in serious trouble. I filled your head with a lot of ideas. Ideas that I now see are a bit extreme. After your mother was gone, I started to think about life differently. Trisha, it's important to save and be sensible with what we have, but it's also important to enjoy life. It was the toughest conversation that Mom had ever had. Everything that she had ever believed in had just been pulled out from under her. She was quiet for a long time. Dad, it's okay. I'm going to keep doing what you taught me. We need to be prepared for every disaster. Grandpa tried to reason with her, but she didn't want to hear it. Mark and I tried to. Enough of this, Mom, I said. This is the reason why I left. And it's the reason why Dad left too, said Mark. Mom shook her head. She looked completely confused. No, he's away on business. He's been away on business for...
She actually seems like she has mental problems and she should probably go see a therapist or something because I don't think this is normal.
Mom burst into tears. So I just let go? Give up? My mom said quietly. You have this...
And then she sold her house and bought a Lambo. The end. And that was the villain origin story of Jake Paul.
Grandpa chuckled. A long pause followed. Then her eyes became wet with tears. She began to speak, but only tears fell. It's okay, Mom. We're all here to help you. Mom took a deep breath before she spoke. Okay, how do you guys do it? Do we have to go out for dinner as regular people do? I can do that now for a start. I smiled widely. Things wouldn't change all at once, but, well...
A little anticlimactic. But, what do you think? Personally, it's got nothing on TLC Extreme Cheapskates. Actually, I'm just kidding. I think it was a roller coaster to say the least. So, have fun. I'm gonna go build my doomsday bunker now. I'm sure the people in the apartment below me will be very happy to hear that. Have a great day. Buy my merch. Goodbye.